Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of the Knit Sip Happy podcast. My name is Nancy, and I'm coming to you from the east coast of Canada, just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. Today is January 27th. It is almost the end of January, which has been like the longest month ever. It feels like Christmas was 6 months ago, doesn't it? I'm happy to see the days are getting longer, and we are coming out of the winter slumber. Already onto the waffle. I am drinking today water. It is Monday morning. It is not even 10 o'clock, I don't think, in the morning. A little honest chat. I was supposed to be here talking to you yesterday, Sunday afternoon. I had a glass of wine while I was writing up my show notes, and I stayed on the couch with another glass of wine and did some extra knitting. I know you'll understand. I just needed a little extra downtime yesterday afternoon. It's been a busy week. So let me tell you a little bit about this episode, I guess. You can find me here, everywhere on social media. I am Knit Sip Happy everywhere. I have started exploring Blue Sky social this week. Just with the uncertainty around Facebook and Instagram, I just thought I would check out and see what was happening on another social media platform. So I will have that linked as well. I have no idea what I'm doing yet. I'm just exploring around and finding other knitters and crafters to follow. So today's episode is going to have knitting, spinning, and some stitching. There'll be a design chat section as well. So everything that I talk about will be linked below. If you click on the more and open up the description box, there will be full show notes there with clickable links. I also put in chapters on this video. So if there's a section that you're not interested in, you can just skip right along to the next one. So that is below as well. Is that everything I'm supposed to tell you? It's been almost 3 weeks, but sometimes I just completely forget what I'm supposed to do. I am wearing my Zweig pullover number 1. This is a design by Caitlin Hunter. I am not going to stand up. I will insert a picture. I test knit this way back when I was a baby sweater knitter. And if you've seen my second Zweig sweater that I knit, I'll put a picture in here. I've made some changes to modify fit. This one moves around quite a bit, the yoke. The fit isn't fantastic. It's okay, but around the neck and the way that the yoke moves on my body instead of staying put, I don't wear it as often, but I thought I hadn't worn it on the podcast for a while, so I thought I would wear it. While I'm talking about fit and yoke, if you are newer here and haven't been around, I have a video that I'm going to link above somewhere about how I modify my knits for my pear shape, how to adjust patterns, specifically yoke patterns, because they are the easiest probably to modify. I am playing with a raglan, and I'll talk about that when we get into whips. But I'll have that video linked above if you're interested in finding out an easy ways to modify your sweaters if you're having problems with fit. All right. I'm looking at my notes. As I said, it's Monday morning. I've only said about 10 words so far today, so I'm not quite sure the coherence and the cohesiveness of this episode, but I will do my best. It was a busy week last week. I was doing a lot of prep prep working for new designs and applying to teach classes at different yarn shows. I'm developing a new class. I had to practice my sock heel clinic. I went to St. John, New Brunswick on Saturday to Cricket Cove with my friend Deborah Yarn Indulgences and Manon La Violette Knits. Manon taught a colorwork class. I taught my sock heel clinic, and Deborah had a trunk show. So we were up and out of the house. I was up and out of the house about 6:45. Picked Deborah up, and we were on the road to make sure we were there in plenty of time. The roads were lovely and dry and no snow on the roads. We've had a couple of snowstorms this past week, but everything was clear and dry. It was freezing. It was minus 18 to 20 most of our drive there. Very, very cold. Yeah, but the day was fantastic. My class went really well. Great feedback from the participants, and lots of great questions, and we had some good old chats. It was fantastic. It was great. And then I got to sit and knit and chat with some of my knitting friends at a little communal space that was there. And then we turned around and drove home. Pizza for dinner, a couple glasses of red wine for dinner. That was the red wine that threw me off track yesterday afternoon, Sunday, that there was still a little bit left in the bottle. And that's what ruined all of my ambition yesterday afternoon. So, all right, should we get into some knitting content? I have 3 FOs for you. 2 are knitting and 1 is embroidery. So let's start with the knitting. The first one is my Christmas Eve cast on socks. I've just got 1. Oh, I'm lying. I have 4. I updated my notes. 4 finished objects. My Christmas Eve cast on was my Missing Mojo socks. The pattern is a little bit lost in this beautiful yarn, if I do say so myself. I dyed this yarn at the Woolay Retreat in November of 2024, and I used a contrast turquoise from my stash, and I had only knit my Missing Mojo. It's one of my patterns. I'd only knit it once before, which was to knit the sample. And I remember I really loved knitting that sock. So I wanted to do it again for my Christmas Eve cast on. There are 2. And these will now go into my sock rotation. I'm just going to take it off the blocker because I'm going to need this later, I think. And we're going to fight with light this morning. It is a bright sunny day, but the window I'm sitting in front of isn't very big. Are you going to come back? Not sure. So I can put away my little bobbins Christmas bag again till I start doing Christmas knitting, which will probably be fairly soon. Hello. There we go. I haven't weighed it, but I have enough yarn here to do something, either another pair of socks, which I don't think so. I was thinking of making minis for my friends for swaps, but is it too precious for that? Could I combine it with, either the tan or this turquoise again and do a cowl, or I don't know. There's another small project in here. I just don't know if I want it to be selfish for me or make it into minis for friends. We shall see. I also was showing nano socks when I was here last, that I was kind of after Christmas bits, fits and starts. I couldn't really settle on a specific project. And I just felt antsy, so I was knitting some knitted knockers, which I've kind of put away again. I don't think I've done any since I saw you last, but I did finish some of these little nano socks. Oh, yeah. So this is from my Lake Ontario sock pattern. This is from Crooked Cube socks, and this is from Missing Mojo socks. So I am making these little nano socks. I modify them. So if you check my Ravelry page, my notes are there as to how I modify these socks. I want to make a garland. I have pictured in my mind up here some kind of wash line, zigzag wash line system where I'm going to peg all of these. I'm pretty caught up now. I've knit one of these socks for every single pattern that I've designed. And I said, I think I'm now 2 behind. So I do have a project bag out in my knitting basket that if I feel like doing something different, I can just whip up one of these socks. They don't take long at all to do. They are knit toe up, increase out for a quick little heel, knit the leg. This one I just put stripes on because there was a contrast color. An I-cord bind off, and then the little hanger is incorporated through that bind off. As I said, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I will have it linked below. I get a lot of questions about this one. So if you're interested, I'm just going to put these on the desk. There's a pile of them back here. My messy desk. I'm not sure if you can see them back there. There's a pile of, ooh, there. only counting those as one, though, really. The last knitting finished object is the Seaway pullover by Ozetta. Put a picture up here. And this has been knit for my daughter, Samantha. I have not woven in all of the ends, and I have not blocked it yet. But it has these really kind of fun, relaxed cables that aren't bordered by any purl stitches. They just look very... And again, I did this last time. I couldn't really show it very well because the camera's blowing it out. Anyway, it had 4 inches of rib at the bottom, which seemed to take forever. And but I got it done, so I'm going to block it. I'll be seeing Sam in less than 2 weeks, and we'll see how it fits. And if I need to lengthen the sleeves, shorten the sleeves, same for the body, I can do that. I've got, I think, a skein and a half left of the Barocco Remix Light. This is the denim colorway. I'm not going to bring it any closer to the camera because you can't see it. So this is a drop shoulder design with a relaxed fit. As I said, it's unblocked, so the cables aren't really doing their thing yet. This sleeve will be much nicer once it's blocked. That was also on my list for yesterday. And then, hello, glass of wine. Bye-bye, all other things that I had to do yesterday. So I just have to finish weaving in another half a dozen ends or so, and then I'll get that blocked. Maybe I'll do that this afternoon, but maybe not. So that's it for the knitting finished objects until we get into design chat. I do have quite a few finished things in design chat, but I'm going to leave them separate, and that way if you aren't interested in that, you can skip on by. The last finished object I had showed you last time. My last video was sponsored by Skillshare. This one is not, but I wanted to show you the finished object anyway because I'm in love with it. So it was an embroidered hoop class that I had chosen to do. I had all of my materials except the fabric when I was here last. So I picked 4 colors of DMC out of my stash. I didn't use the recommended colors in the class. And I had 2 of these 4-inch hoops. I picked up a fat quarter of white cotton at Fabricland. I never remember. It's a Canadian fabric shop. And while I was there, I picked up the white felt that I would need to finish the back. So the felt is blanket stitched onto the fabric, the embroidery fabric. I've never done this technique before, and it's lovely and neat and tidy and quite easy to achieve. The whole class was really enjoyable. Yeah, I've done backstitch before. I had never done the stitch for the leaves. I can't remember what she called it. And the woven wheels, the roses, I always thought those were going to be so difficult. They are deceptively easy, and I enjoyed them so much that I have started a new one, and I'll show you that in whips. But yeah, I'm really happy about this finish. It's going to go up somewhere where it's visible that I can see it all the time and admire it because I'm very proud of it. That's it for FOs and my color. Yeah, we're gonna struggle with this today. Hello. All right, let's just carry on. Whips. Yeah, I didn't have I think I've only got one whip that you've seen before, and it has been long hibernated. So let's start with a new one. Living in my Mrs. Brown's bag. Come on. I'm just going to pause for 1 second and see if I can adjust my lighting. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll see how long this goes for. Yeah, grocery girls. My aunt in England, who I stayed with when I was there last year, my mom's twin sister, we were talking, and she asked if I could knit her a pair of socks that her feet were cold. So I kind of asked a few questions. Is this something you want to wear in your slippers, or is this just like bed socks? So she said bed socks. So I dug through my stash and thought, gotta be DK, and how about mohair? So I had this skein of Rico Superba Fair Isle, and I got in Halifax at it's the yarn store in the Hydrostones. I'll put the name on the screen because I can't remember. And I grabbed some natural mohair out of my stash and grabbed my 3.25 millimeter needles. I followed the construction and sock numbers from my Sliptastic socks and my New York DK socks. So I just used the basic numbers for that. And I have finished one, and I have the second one on the needles. So let me just put this on a blocker and blow this camera out again. So they're super fluffy. The stripes and the patterning are really fun. I just put a little knit purl broken rib texture down the front of each side of the leg, and it runs down the foot as well. Simple heel flap and gusset down to the rounded toe. As I said, I followed all the instructions from my newer DK socks or my Sliptastic socks. I did the largest size because I want them to be loose. I did a shorter leg. Again, bed socks. I don't want to worry about any constriction there, to be comfy and just give a little bit of extra warmth in bed. So I have the second sock. I've turned the heel. I finished the gusset decreases, so now I'm just working down the foot. So I'd like to get these in the mail at the end of the week to get to her, so I can send them airmail, and they should be there in about 10 days or so. So yeah, get them finished, give them a quick, I'll probably just steam block them or spray block them. I don't know if I'll do a full wet block, we'll see. Well, I could, the heat's on. I could sit them over the heating vent and they would dry in a few hours. So the mohair that I'm using, I didn't tell you, is Drops Kid Silk Haze. Just Drops Kid Silk. It was left over from my winter white ranunculus I did 2 winters ago, I think, that I did with the Briggs roving yarn and a strand of that mohair. I had a full skein and a part skein, and I thought this was a great use to finish them up. I don't find the Drops is the softest mohair in the world, so I thought socks were a good option because they'll feel great. They'll feel great on the feet. So that will be a finished object, and I'll probably just have to show you a picture next time because I would imagine they'll be winging their way to England by the next time I see you, which will be 2.5 weeks, I think, scheduling wise, life scheduling wise. So I'm just shove all this back in the bag. Okay, so the only pattern that the only whip that you have seen from me before has been hibernating since last summer, late summer, when I realized I wasn't going to get it done in time, so I put it away. This is my Laya by Isabel Kramer. There'll be a picture up on the screen. I am knitting this out of Yarn Indulgences. Silk and Linen in the fingering blend, and the colorway is Twilight. So if you've been here before, you know I love, love, love this base. It is the perfect blend of silk and linen. It's not crunchy. It is cool to wear, beautiful to knit, lovely and drapey. I am a big fan of this yarn if you've been around before. So I had tangles. Hang on one second. Oh, please. No, we're just going to have to go with it. This beautiful kind of wisteria, soft purpley gray color. I am helical knitting. I have 2 skeins of this yarn. This one is a lot smaller because I knit the yoke out of 1 skein, and then once I joined underneath the arms, or split for the sleeves, I guess, I Sorry, I'm just attached to something in here and I can't sort it. So yes, so I have 2 skeins of yarn attached. I started, once I split for the sleeves, once I finished the yoke and the lace in the yoke, I started helical knitting just to avoid any pooling and color issues with hand-dyed yarn. Helical knitting is always the safest way to go. You can just Google or look on YouTube for helical knitting videos, and it's just a matter of you're switching from one skein of yarn to another, or one end of the skein to another, because and that just where you're working with 2 different yarns, it just means your yarn is micro striping fundamentally to stop any pooling that can happen with hand-dyed yarn. This is very crinkly from being stuffed in a bag. You can see a bit of striping that's really visible on the camera. It's not so visible in real life. So I have knit Laia before in a long sleeved sweater. So this time doing it, pairing this beautiful lace yoke with a summer t-shirt. Can't wait to wear this. I'll be wearing it maybe at Fiddlehead Fiber Festival. If not, it'll be on a hanger if it's not warm enough. And I will definitely be wearing it at Knit City, Montreal when I'm there helping Deborah at her booth or wandering around. So this is, I'm about 7 inches past splitting for the sleeves. Referring back to that, how I modify my knits, I am putting in, where am I? There I am. I'm putting in increases every 7 rows. I've got a center stitch on each side of the sweater under the underarm, and I do knit one, make one right, knit one, slip the marker, knit one, make one left. Every inch or so, depending on your gauge. It'll do that all the way to the ribbing at the bottom, and that gives an A-line shape. I am pear-shaped, so I need that extra space. So I need smaller at the top, bigger at the bottom. So I increase out, and we're fighting with the color again. But yeah, I was really happy to get back to this. I am going to have to soon make a decision. I'm going to have to snip my yarns, pick up for the sleeves, get the sleeves finished, and then finish the body to the length that I want it. Because I only had 2 skeins of this. It does have very good yardage, but I just want to make sure I have enough for the sleeves, and the body length I can adjust. I can wear a tank top underneath it. Let me rephrase. I've never run out of yarn using 2 skeins for a t-shirt in my size. This is what I always tell people at yarn shows when they come up and talk to me. And we're looking at the samples that are hanging up in the booth, and it's 2 skeins, 2 skeins, 2 skeins of this silk and linen fingering. My size, I can fit at the gauge you want your summer t-shirts to be at. I can get a sweater in my size in 2 skeins. So you can indulge in this still quite reasonably priced silk and linen yarn and get a t-shirt. Or if you're of a smaller size, you could get a 3/4 length sleeve shirt. Or anyway, I have remember I was telling you I couldn't find my Miss Piggy? I pulled this out of the project bag, and Miss Piggy was living here. So they have been reunited. My Kermit and Miss Piggy have been reunited on my Laia. And the next 2 are brand new cast-ons. So let's start with this, which looks like a very small hat, the start to a sleeve. It's a pair of pants. It's a baby pants / leggings pattern from Drops Design. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I've done some short rows in here to bring the back up a little higher, and you knit a certain amount of length, and then I have to, I guess, do some short rows for the butt and then split for the legs. And I just wanted to, there's going to be a ton of stretch in here. I'll knit them a little bit longer because when you stretch this way, of course, you shorten your knitting. So I'm following the pattern so far, and then we'll see. I'm doing the 6 to 9 month size just for extra longevity. So I probably won't have to lengthen it. We'll see. I just started this, and I'm using an unknown sock yarn from my stash with nylon in it, so they'll be able to machine wash it and pop it in the dryer or hang it if they want to. The mum is a knitter, so yeah. Basic 2x2 rib, which I can most times do when I'm not looking. I'm rewatching Vera on BritBox. I'm about to get rid of BritBox, so I watched the Vera, the end of her series, and the documentary about how they make the show. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go back to season 1. I'm going to watch them all over again because I love them. I love them. So I was doing that. That's what I was doing yesterday instead of coming and talking to you. 2x2 rib, red wine, and Vera. Who can blame me? The last knitted project that isn't to design I'm going to show you is in a topsail canvas bag that's designed to be a wine tote. And when I bought this bag, there's like pockets in there. And I thought they were pockets all the way to the bottom of the bag. Oh. There, you can kind of see the purple fabric as the pockets. But it's not. It's just like bands, like long, deep bands of fabric to hold the wine separate so they don't clunk into each other. And I thought, oh, well, I can still make it work. And I have been using it. But you know what it's perfect for? Balls of yarn. They sit in there and they don't fall down to the bottom. So I'm holding 2 skeins together. So Sadie, if you're watching, this wine tote, awesome knitting bag. Awesome, awesome. Especially when you've got smaller balls like that. Okay, let me show you the yarns I'm using. I got these at Galt House of Yarn when I was there last May. You can see I'm on brand. I picked up a sweater quantity of Filcolana, Arvetta, and Tilia. We're just going to let this blow out. Where's the name? There it is. So this one is just green, and this one is forest pine, forest spruce, something like that. They're linked to my project page below. Holding them together, the fabric is absolutely delicious. And what am I knitting? I am knitting a lento. My first lento. I missed the first craze around it. And I was at Knit Night last Tuesday, and my friend Sophie, Cozy Meadow Knits, and I were talking, and she says, I want to knit that one too. Do you want to knit them? So we agreed we were going to kind of do just a friend's knit along, and she had yarn picked out for hers as well. And yeah, so she's swatched, but I don't think she's cast on yet. She had a busy weekend, as she usually does. So this is the swatch. That's pretty good for the color showing. I ended up going down a needle size. So the pattern, like Ranunculus, like Wilfreda, like Love Note, recommends a 6mm needle. That's a little loose for me. I prefer a 5.5mm needle. So I didn't meet gauge on the 5.5mm needle. I was getting 16 stitches over 4 inches, and I believe the pattern is 14 or 15. Can't remember which. So I did a little sweater math and figured out the size that I wanted to do, and off I went. So I have cast on, done the short rows, and I'm just working on increasing the raglans. So this is as far as I've got. I'm on a very small circumference needle, still on a 16-inch. I haven't done enough increases yet to go out onto a bigger needle. So the raglan increasers are simple, knit front and back, very easy to keep track of. I didn't do the folded neckline. I decided to do an alternating cable cast on. Really nice and neat. And I did it for 10 rounds instead of doing a provisional cast on and doing the double fold over brim neckline. So what else do I need to tell you about this? Oh, this fabric is lovely. I will love wearing this. I have 5 skeins each of the Arvetta and Tilia, which is a little more than I usually have when I do my large gauge mohair sweaters. So I'm looking forward to having something just a little bit longer that I don't have to wear a top underneath. Yeah, so I will be doing modifications as I do. I'm trying something different on a raglan, because modifying, as I said, modifying yoke sweaters is a lot easier than other constructions, to allow more room for the bust in the front and less room in the back, which is flat for most people, most female people. So what I did when I put in the stitch markers to mark the raglans, so if you're not from, I'm sure you are, I'm going to say something that's so obvious, but just in case. So a raglan sweater has specific increase points at the edges of the sleeves and the edges of the front and back. So this stitch marker denotes the sleeve, and this is this is the front. So what I did when I was putting my stitch markers in, I put, if it told me to knit so many stitches, I took away 2 from the back and added 2 for the front. So I haven't made a huge differential because I don't want to get to sleeve separation and realize I've made a big mistake. So I just wanted to try it gently. So I've got 4 stitches more on the front and 1 inch less on the back. So over 4 stitches, that's an inch at the gauge I'm getting. So I just thought I would try and see how it fits. And then maybe next time I will be a little more extreme if I think it can take it. But it would have to be a non-mohair sweater. I don't want to have to rip back a mohair yarn because it starts to get a little bit sticky and splitty and tangly to do it with mohair. So I want it to be gradual. Take a gradual approach. That color is showing up perfectly right there. Oh, I can't wait till it's done. I would like to think I would have this done for the winter gathering on February 21st, 22nd. But I've got a busy, things are busy over here in Knit Sip Happy World. But yeah, anything else I need to tell you about that? I don't think so. If there is, you'll get a future insert of me during editing. Okay. We're still gonna stay in whips, but we're going to go into cross stitch and embroidery. So I told you that I started a new hoop using that pattern that I've already done. So it is in progress with a C for my son's girlfriend who has a birthday in April. I picked different colors this time. I stayed with the navy for the back stitch and the letter. And everything's falling. Hang on, I just have to go grab my floss. Okay, I don't think you're in a different position. So I picked different colors. Those are the numbers of the floss that I use. These are DMC flosses. As a cross-stitcher, a very long time cross-stitcher, I have a rather substantial stash of DMC. So as you can see, I'm just working on the leaves. I can't wait to get to those woven wheels because I loved them. I'm addicted. So this is, yeah, I'm really enjoying. I'm just keeping this one in a little pouch that was gifted to me at Christmas time. If you watch Vlogmas, you will have seen this at Vlogmas. It came as part of a package. And, oh, segue. Speaking of Vlogmas and the nicest surprises, oh, please stop with the color. Christmas surprises. I got back to work after the holidays and we had a postal strike here in Canada. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of. I got a Christmas card at work from England, which I thought, when I looked at the envelope, I thought, wonder if one of my aunts has lost my home address. And it was just a delayed Christmas card coming from a family member. And I opened the card and it was not. I have already sent a message to the lovely person who sent the Christmas card to me. It's a viewer of this channel who did a little investigative work because I had been talking about my work and been showing various facets and talking about the website of my work at the business site that I own, and looked up the address and sent me a Christmas card to thank me for doing Vlogmas and just made my day. So you know who you are. I didn't ask for permission to say your name, so I'm not going to, but thank you. It was a lovely, lovely surprise. All right. Cross stitch. I showed you this on the last episode. I haven't done a ton because I got a little addicted to the embroidery, but I have made some progress. So this is a knitter's sampler. And I did have to do some color substitutions, but I have managed to stay in the spirit of the colors in this pattern. There we go. So burgundies and a couple different pinks and then a lighter pink. This light pink was a replacement for me. I didn't have the actual, and I think it's going to be too light. It's supposed to be one or two of the words, so I think I'm going to have to use one of the other colors for that. But I put in this band at the top. I think I did this down the side, did these little bits. So I need to start working down this side next. So yeah, I'm really enjoying doing a little cross stitch as well. And I can't wait to have this little piece to frame to put in my craft room. All right, let's see. Is the color going to come back? Oh, yes, it did. Winning. That's it for whips. So let's go on to a little spinning. I promised to show you, last time I was here, I showed you the finished, and I just found this. I was looking for this yesterday when I was winding in the yarn through the yarn counter. I have a finished skein. I put a tag on with the information, but I prefer to use if there's tags from the dyer. So this is Pixie Yarn, Superwash Merino Gray. Come on. And nylon. And the colorway is, I'm guessing Fiber Ditzy. I don't know if that is true or not. So I had this beautiful burgundy gray with shots of kind of gingery nutmeg colors in there that I spun over December. This was what I treated myself to spin in Advent. I had washed it when you were here last time, but I hadn't run it through my yarn counter to see what I got for yardage. And this is a 3-ply with nylon, so I can do socks. So it was 102 grams, and I got 584 yards. I'm blown away by that yardage, and I'm super happy and can't wait to knit socks out of this yarn. Excuse my terrible fingers. My hands get very dry in the winter because I'm in a lot of water at work and sanitizers, chemicals, and so this will be the last time you see this hand spun until I decide what pattern, or if I'm just going to do vanilla socks or something very simple to just let the colors shine. We shall see. I have to figure out a way to attach this to this. So I got all the information. I did put it on here, Pixie Yarn 80/20. I write that on all of my hand spun, as I've learned that I will not actually remember. When I first started, I'm like, oh, I'll remember. I don't remember, in fact. So I need to put that band on there. My current spin, so I spun that on my Nano Eel wheel. It's a 1.1 because I've upgraded the motor. I got it from a D-stash from a lovely knitting friend. So I decided, last time I was here, I was showing you wee chickadee fibers I showed during Vlogmas. So this is the fiber, and I said I wanted to try I've never done a fractal spin. So this one I'm spinning on my, this is 100% Corriedale from Wee Chickadee that I picked up in a D-stash. So what I've got here is long strips. So when I split out the braid of fiber to do a fractal, I decided to do a 2-ply. So I split it in half and I spun up 1/2 in the thicker bit. And then I split the other half into thin strips. I think I split it into 4 strips. So I have 2 left that are tied here at the top. So I know to spin always starting this end to make sure my colors are lined up correctly. I don't know if my color runs are too short on this for it to really work as a fractal. I just hope I don't muddy the colors when I ply it. We shall see. So I'm working on the second bobbin, but I thought I would show you the first one. Fiber. So it's beautiful. At this top layer, we've got lots of the gold and the blue, but it's hard to see. There's that really bright turquoisey color in there as well. So I'm spinning this on my eel wheel 6, my bigger wheel, because to do a 2-ply, I think the smaller 2-ounce bobbins of the Nano wouldn't be big enough. So this is half of the braid. The other half is on the wheel. I'm not going to take it off to show you because it looks pretty much the same as this. So hopefully next time I see you, I will have this either hopefully started to ply. I may not be finished it. We'll see. I haven't spun for a couple of days, and yeah, now I really want to just sit and spin. Sit and spin. Yeah, yum. All right. That's it for spinning content today. Let's hop into design chat. This could be a bit of a longer segment today. I just hit publish this morning on a new pattern, which is why I really wanted to come and talk to you yesterday so I wouldn't have too much knitting admin to do on a Monday, but here we are. I procrastinated and here we are. The Wigget socks are live on Ravelry. Love crafts now. I'm just going to hold up one. If you've been through Vlogmas and here on the channel, I think I showed them last time as well. So this is using Wigget yarn from Eldenwood Crafts. Emma is going to have an update this Thursday, January 30th, for a sock set using this beautiful speckledy, very lightly variegated yarn called Wigget. So the sock design is also called that. We've got a really nice, a modified twisted rib leading into this beautiful slip stitch detail with a garter column. Nice stockinette across the front so you can really love the way your yarn looks, and then a fun broken rib kind of texture at the back that really is squishy and hugs the back of your leg. Garter heel flap with a contrast color down to my rounded toe. So I said I would tell you the story of Wigget, and I discovered what it was when I was in the UK at the Willay retreat, hanging out with the lovely ladies that I spent the weekend with. They had met up. Oh, see what I mean about this sweater? It moves. When I move, it moves, and I end up fussing with it. So I don't wear it very often. So we're talking, there's 6 knitting friends that I got to spend time with. I am now officially number 7 and feel like the kid in high school that the cool kids want to spend time with me. Long story long. So 5 of them, 5 out of the 6, met in person at the Vine, just outside of Basingstoke in Hampshire. And so, and one of the families that owned, they met at the Vine, just outside of Basingstoke in Hampshire. It is a 16th century historic house that has been owned by different legs of different families over the years. So the Wigget family married in at some point, I believe in the 18th century. Don't get me wrong. I did a little Wikipedia after the ladies told me why they picked it. So they call themselves the Wiggets, the Woolly Wiggets. And I thought it was a funny name. And one of the biggest issues with sock patterns is trying to find a name that is not already on Ravelry. And I thought, there's no way in hell anybody's going to have Wigget. So the pattern went to my testers. It also went into our chat group. And a couple of the ladies have cast on using their yarn. We all got gifted this yarn from Emma at Eldenwood Crafts at the retreat, if I didn't already say that. This is a 75-25. Superwash merino nylon. The speckles are just divine. I loved the delicate speckling and the colors so much. So let's get back to why the sock looks the way it does. So I'll put a picture of the Vine here. Before I tell you why I felt honored to be part of this Wigget group, is my English family is from the Basingstoke area in Hampshire. I never actually lived in Basingstoke. I lived in various villages outside of Basingstoke. My granny was a volunteer docent at the Vine for years. And I remember being at the Vine when my granny was volunteering and being told to sit quietly in a corner of a room, whatever room she was volunteering in that day, and listening to her talk about different pieces of art and furniture and the history of the Vine when I was a kid. So it just felt very full circle that the ladies had met there. I didn't meet them there, but I've been there. I have history there. I have family history there. And it just, it hit all the feels for me when they told me that. This is the picture of the Vine that I used for inspiration, with the portico, the columns, and the beautiful brickwork on the building. Is the columns, the slip stitch detail leading into this garter is the columns. The plain stockinette is the portico, that space heading into the house. And then this beautiful kind of texture on the back is the lovely brickwork that you see. I loved knitting this. It's a lot of plain knitting for a lot of bang for your buck and impact. So with all of my sock patterns, most of my sock patterns, I donate the first week's proceeds to different charities. And it's January heading into February. And if you've been around here for a while, this was my 3rd year in a row donating to the New Brunswick Heart Center based out of St. John, New Brunswick. Our province has a lot of landscape and real estate and space, but not many people. So our specialized centers tend to be in one city or another. So we travel to St. John to get specialized heart care in our province. It's about 90 minutes away. This is where Brad had his surgery. If you've not been here, Brad was born with a heart defect, and they had been monitoring him through his 20s and 30s, and to make sure everything was still good. In his 40s, it was decided he was going to need surgery soon. He was put on a wait list, and in 2018, when he turned 50, he got his surgery. So they took the most amazing care of him at the Heart Center. And as we're heading into February and Heart Month, it's a great reminder to heart health. It keeps us all pumping and going. So I'll be donating all of the funds from this pattern until February 3rd, end of day, early the 4th, whenever I total up the numbers. We donate to the New Brunswick Heart Center. The good news is, as a donor, they keep up to date with me on emails and whatnot. There is a fund matching campaign right now until February 14th. So every dollar that we raise will be matched. So for a $5 sock purchase, it is going to be a $10 donation. And that makes me even happier. It happened last year as well, so it was just great timing. And yeah, so we're doing it again. And if you're outside of Canada, the Canadian dollar is tragically low right now for us, but great value for money if you're outside of Canada. I'm not changing my pattern price. So if you're outside of Canada and are looking for a new sock pattern, then for $3 something cents US, or about the same in pounds, I think $3.20, £3.20, I think you can get a new sock pattern, and I will donate the money till February 3rd to our local heart center. Thank you for listening. Let's move on to the next design that's coming hot and fast. I've got a busy few months as we're heading into spring. So I've got a pattern that'll be coming out in February. I'm going to show you that now. Next on the docket is going to be the breast cancer fundraiser that comes in April. Titty Gaga is right there. That was the 2024 pattern. 2023 was Tits Up. I should have had it up there. I don't. I'll put a picture in here. The new one is coming. I haven't finalized a name, but I have finalized the design. I've been doing some swatching. I said to myself, how many more circular motifs can I possibly come up with? Good news, I found quite a few options, and I narrowed it down to the one I want to use this year. So I'm swatching for that. I'm just waiting for the yarn to knit the sample up, and then that will go into testing. And then I'm going to have 2 designs for Knit City Montreal, and then I'm going to take a break. So let me show you what I'm doing the current knit. I'm still knitting samples because it's a multi-sock project. Let me grab some blockers and show you what we've got going on here. I am using turtle pearl yarns. I know Emily in real life. She lives locally to me. And while I was away in the UK last fall, I knit a sock for my son-in-law, Rob, with just a little column of design. I'll put a picture in here, just a little column, something to keep me on track, because sometimes vanilla I lose, if you've been here before, if it's vanilla socks or vanilla knitting, I can get bored and end up with being on my phone. Something needs to keep me engaged. Either that luscious fabric on my Lento is going to keep me going, because it's going to fly off my needle at a larger gauge. Socks, stripes, texture, just a little pattern that I could focus on, but not have to focus on, if that makes sense. I could hold a conversation. I could wait for my train. I could watch the scenery as it was going past. So those socks kind of twigged something that I wanted to try. So what we have coming later in February to celebrate my 3rd design anniversary. Hard to believe I started this in 2022 as a complete whim. I am using 3 different colors from Turtle Pearl, and I'll talk about them as we go through. So this is what I'm doing. I'm calling it a collection of columns, because what you're going to get in the pattern is 6 8-stitch column patterns that you can insert into your sock any way you like. So they're all 8 stitches, so they're interchangeable. I've written the pattern so that the design just runs down the front of each side. I'm cheating a little bit here. Let me explain why. Because I've got 6 different designs, and I wanted to see them knit up, and I need them for samples. But I don't really want to knit 6 pairs of socks. So what I've done is I'm knitting 3 pairs of socks. So I've got this beautiful lacy on this side of the sock, and I've got this kind of blocky texture cube on this side. This is just me knitting samples. You would repeat it on each side if you wanted, or you could have 2 different. You know what one of my testers is doing? She's knitting it so they're opposite, so that she'll have, for example, this one on the outside of the leg, this one on the inside of the leg on each side. So she fundamentally has 2 different pairs of socks. I've done them so they're the same side. So for photography, I can just take a picture like this and show this one. And then I can just turn them over, and I can take a picture like this, and I can show the pattern. Does that make sense? There's 6 columns. They can be interchanged and used any way you like. You could combine 3 of the same and just make a panel across the front of your sock and then do stockinette around. You could do plain all around and just do one down the back of the leg. It's kind of a mix and match. So you're getting my basic sock pattern with instructions to do contrast, heel, and toe. You get the columns, the 6 columns, and then I have written it that you're putting them in on 2 panels on each side of the front of the sock. So let me just turn this so you can see. So obviously your sock's not going to look like this. You can if you want. I just did this, so I only need to knit 3 pairs of socks, not 6 pairs of socks. So this is column 1 and 4, I think. They're all numbered, they're charted, they're written. There's a photograph of what the chart looks like knit up, and I've done it with just the back as vanilla. But this runs all the way down the foot. Yeah. And when I was charting this up, I found a few more. So if this goes well and you guys love it, I may do a second collection of columns in 2026. So this one is, so I'm using 3 different colorways, as I mentioned, from Emily. This one is, did I say? This one is Lavender Sunrise. Lavender Sunrise. I love it so much. Emily sent me her full catalog of colors and said, pick whatever you like. And I hadn't seen this one, or if I had, it's been a very long time. And I love it. So Lavender Sunrise. This one is Twilight. Also love. So this is actually Rob's. On the pattern, it says it's Rob's sock. This is the column that I did on Rob's sock that started it all. Just a little twist stitch with some purl and stockinette. And like I said, just a little something, something. And on the other side of this one is a simple skip pattern with knits and purls. So this is Twilight, and this one is Wild Rose. So you guys, other than my testers, you're the first ones to see this advanced screening notice for you. So this is column number 5. Again, just fun little twist cables. And then I loved this lace one. It's linear, which is different for a lot of lace, just with some purl rows in there, some slip stitches, you're slipping 2 knit stitches together and then passing them over, which is what gives it that fun linear kind of, instead of being angled. A lot of times eyelets and things, they feel a little more angled. This has got this straight up and down that I really, really liked. So Wild Rose with the yellow heel, yellow toe. So this is coming February 19th to celebrate my design anniversary. And yeah, I have knit 4 of the socks so far. I'm currently knitting on the second Twilight sock. So I did them in order. I knit 1 Lavender Sunrise, 1 Twilight, 1 Wild Rose. And then I started again. I knit 1 Lavender Sunrise. I'm working on the second Twilight, then I'll knit the second Wild Rose. Just to keep it from getting boring. Fun to mix it up with different colors. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. My testers are combining the charts like crazy. I thought they were just going to kind of pick and do one, but they've requested blank charts so they can kind of color in and combine the columns, and brilliant. So yes, there's a page of a blank chart space on the last page of the pattern that you can kind of make your own adventure, build your own sock. So that's what's happening in Design Chat. Wigget socks are out today. Next time I come to see you, I will let you know the funds that were raised for the fundraiser. I appreciate any shares, likes. If you're not a sock knitter, I completely understand. If you don't need any more sock patterns, I also completely understand. If you ever see any posts on social media, if it's possible to share, like, comment, everything helps get it seen, and get more Wigget socks out there in the world. Okay, where am I? That is it for knitting content. I have no acquisitions. Yeah, I have no acquisitions. I said I was at a yarn shop on the weekend, but I was only in there briefly, and I averted my eyes because there's lots coming up in the next little bit. As I mentioned, I did my sock heel clinic this past Saturday. Yesterday I had a quiet day because it was very people-y, which is fantastic, but it does drain the battery after a work week as well. And yeah, what's next? Oh, the winter gathering is coming up. So in Sussex, New Brunswick, February 21st and 22nd, we will be at the All Seasons Inn in Sussex, New Brunswick. If you are in the area and interested, the All Seasons has sold out of bedrooms to sleep in, but there is still lots of space to come hang out with us for the day. You could look at staying at one of the other inns or hotels in the area if you wanted to come and visit, or just come in from the day. If you're coming in from St. John, Moncton, or Fredericton, it's about 45 minutes to an hour from all the three major centres in New Brunswick, which is why we pick Sussex. None of us are actually from Sussex, but it's just the perfect central location to meet up with friends from around the province. So we get there Friday afternoon, and it's just a casual hangout, knit. There's a restaurant, a really good restaurant attached to the conference space and the motel, and we usually have dinner there. We spin, we knit, we chat. There was looms there last year. There was a circular sock knitting machine or two. Saturday is the big day, 9 until 4. We will have vendors. I've got to put the vendor list out soon too on social media. If you're interested in any of this information, I'll have it linked below, but Atlantic Yarn Fiber is who we are. It's Deborah Yarn Indulgences, me, Sophie Cozy Meadow Knits, and Menon from Lavio That Knits, who are the organizers behind this. And it started out as just a fun, we wanted to hang out with our friends and knit. And last year was the first time we had done it on a larger scale, and it morphed into something that we could never have expected. And it just shows that need for community that we have, how much we enjoy spending time with other crafters, even if we're not doing the same kind of craft. We're all playing with yarn and fiber in a certain way, or in different ways. And we crave that together time to speak the same language as people who love the same things that we do. So this event is fundamentally community driven and social driven. Somebody had asked if we would be doing classes. Not at this time, not this year for sure. And I don't know if we would ever want to do classes because this is quite an informal event. However, on the Saturday, we will have vendors. There's going to be 7 or 8, I can't remember. I don't have a list in front of me. Maritime, New Brunswick, I think they're all New Brunswick vendors. Various bag makers, yarn dyers, yarn shops. Legacy Lane is the local yarn shop in Sussex, and they are planning all kinds of fun events as well. So definitely check them out if you're in town. If you would like any more information, feel free to message me below, or you can message us through Instagram or through the website. And one of the 4 of us will be able to give you the information that you need. So yeah, if you're in the area and you're available on the 21st, 22nd, come hang out. We are going to have a great time. So that's the most instant thing coming up in 4 weeks? Can't wait. As I said, the motel rooms are sold out at this point. If there are any cancellations, I'll be posting them on, if rooms do come available, I'll post them on the Atlantic Yarn Fiber Instagram page. And but I know there's the Amsterdam Inn and the Fairway Inn also in Sussex that would have rooms. We just don't have a block booked with them. So yeah. Oh, last time I was here, I was talking about Fiddlehead Fiber Festival, which is coming up April 11th and 12th. And my words, my mouth said the 11th and 12th. When I edited, I typed February 11th and 12th. That is incorrect. Fiddlehead Fiber Festival will be linked below. It is April 11th and 12th. So that is in Florenceville, Bristol, which is about 3 hours away, 3 and a bit hours away from where I live. I'll be teaching there and hanging out at Yarn Indulgence's booth and hanging out with friends and knitting and whatever social communal time we can get together. As I mentioned, that we crave it. So that's coming up as well. I've got a lot of work to do between now and then. I've got to finish developing a new class that I'm working on. I'll talk about that as I get closer. And I think that's it for today. I'm looking at my time. I'm just over an hour, so it's another fairly short one. As I said, my knitting content has been mostly design socks and swatching and just trying to get a handle on the busy period that's coming up for the next few months. So I'm going to, I don't think there's any waffle even particularly. I already told you all the fun things that happened. We had knit night last week. It's been cold, it's been snowy. I'll have a little bit of footage either at the beginning or the end of some interesting weather we've had. I was going to vlog last week. I was going to do what I make in a week. And then my week went completely tits up to go back to my socks. It just got really busy. I had a lot of appointments. We had bad weather on Monday and Thursday. So things got moved around. The yarn life was really busy. The work life was quite busy trying to do a whole bunch of behind the scenes things for my day job. And yeah, I think I recorded for 2 days and then I forgot for a day and a bit. And I thought, oh, I just can't. I've got nothing fun to say. It was just a lot of me sitting on a computer and knitting swatches that I can't show you. And yeah, so the vlog got abandoned, but I do have some pretty snowy footage that I'll put it on the beginning or the end. So I hope you were all well and enjoying or surviving your January, the longest month ever, whether it's sunny and warm in the Southern Hemisphere or bloody freezing like it is up here in the Northern Hemisphere. Happy knitting, my friends. Happy sipping. And I will see you very soon. We've got some snow down this morning. That is my path, and there's a step there. So that's kind of, before Brad gets out and does the snow removal, I know when I can't see the step, that's a lot of snow. Looks like 15 to 20, and it's still coming down.